Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Profit TV. Sports Profit here, as always, with my co-host Garrett at Just Some Footy. We are heading into week number 3 of Leagues Cup. It has been a really, really fun tournament so far. Lots to talk about. A little bit of housekeeping here. Through the first 2 weeks of Leagues Cup, we're 6-5-1. But we have absolutely smashed all 3 of our 2 units that we've given out. So we're actually up almost 3 units last 2 weeks. So despite a little bit of a dip last week, really solid results overall through 2 weeks of Leagues Cup. We got one more round of group play to get to, which is what we're discussing today. And then it's knockout round, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yippers. Okay, let me plug BetUS. Right off the bat here, just to get out of the way, BetUS, really solid sports book. They're offering 125% deposit bonus. After the show is done, I'm going to put a link to that offer in the description of this video. Yeah, what else? What else, Gary? What you got anything on your mind?
No, we were talking right before the show just how this competition has just exceeded basically all of our expectations. I think it's interesting because we didn't know what to necessarily expect here. And so it is blown that out of the water. I guess it's easy to blow it out when you don't have expectations. But we've seen these matchups before in CONCACAF Champions League, and they don't always live up to the hype.
Right.
But here I think you're seeing the best teams in each league absolutely dominate.
Yeah, that's a good point. The first day or so, we saw some pretty impressive results from MLS clubs that, absolutely smacked some of the lower tier honestly, to be honest, some of the middle tier Liga MX teams got it handed to them as well. I don't want to act like we just beat up on the seller because there were some, historically middle tier Liga MX teams that got beat pretty bad. Now they are on the road, and I feel like that's being passed over just a little bit. Obviously, we're MLS guys here, but I've seen a lot of, wow, MLS is just kicking the shit out of Liga MX, and they're playing every game on the road. So every win that MLS records against Liga MX, you need to keep that in mind. Every win that Liga MX records over MLS on MLS soil, that also should be kept in mind. That's a factor when handicapping games and when talking about, who's better than who and et cetera. So,
but that's benefited bettors in the sense where like last show we talked about that dogs can win here, especially with the MX sides traveling. That was in reference to the Lyon game, and they go out and win 1-0. So this is a good competition for dogs. It's been a lot of fun seeing these Liga MX sides cash some plus 200 or better tickets.
Yeah, and then real quick, and we will get on to predictions, but man, I don't know if there was a better example of the cream of the crop Liga MX versus what a lot of people thought was a good MLS team in St. Louis City yesterday, because it was night and day. It was like the big boys against the JV out there. It was in every aspect of the game.
The coach put it best, where he was like, America looks like they've existed for 100 years. We look like we've existed for 7 months.
Wow, that's pretty accurate, actually. So cool. Well, all right. We've got some brand new graphics to break into today. Really excited to get to those. And we will just go ahead and kick it off. Give me 1 second. Got some technical difficulties here trying to get to these. Yeah, let's go ahead and kick it off with our first match to talk about here, which is Atlanta United, and they are hosting Cruz Azul. And this is Garrett. This is one of Garrett's plays.
Yeah, so I'm going to be on Cruz Azul, draw no bet here. It's plus money, I think, at plus 130. And it is in Atlanta, but I liked what I saw from Cruz Azul versus Miami before Messi came on. I mean, they were just peppering the net. Yep. Cruz Azul got off a ton of shots. They had 4 big chances in that Miami match. They missed all 4. They looked good, right? And so now you're going against an Atlanta team that just got smoked. And I don't know how Pineda fixes that, right? Like, Atlanta's still going to have the best player on the pitch, like Miami did with Messi. Atlanta has Almada. Cruz Azul's a better team top to bottom though than Atlanta, like
Right.
overall. Um, yeah. So Cruz Azul gets through with the draw. This is why I'm not on their money line. They'll absolutely settle for a draw here. They advance with a draw. But yeah, I think there's a chance here where Cruz can pop Atlanta, and so at plus money for their draw no bet with that push protection, in their advancing scenario, I'm good with that.
Yeah, so there's a couple elements at play in this game that are intriguing. The Cruz Azul head coach has literally been given an ultimatum here. Like, you win this game or you're done. So, and that's really interesting. Cruz Azul, historically, one of the big four clubs in Mexico, obviously based in Mexico City. They share a stadium with Club America. So they've got big expectations. They haven't necessarily provided him with as much talent as some previous Cruz Azul teams have had. So that's interesting. They're kind of in flux. They're kind of in the middle of making some player moves. But I agree with you. They looked good against Miami. You and I think both took a live shot on Cruz Azul to score in the first half in that game because they were all over the Miami net. And you take those issues and double them for the issues that Atlanta has in the defensive midfield and on the back line. That's going to be a problem for Atlanta. I'm going to be honest. I think the Atlanta situation right now is close to a runaway freight train in a negative way. I think that what we saw against Inter Miami, that very well could carry over against a Cruz Azul team that's better. They're better than Atlanta. So if you don't fix any of those issues, it's not going to get any better magically because you're playing at home, because you're playing a team that can punish you. So, yeah, I like this one. Cool. Okay, on to our next game. Heavyweight bout here. Seattle Sounders going to be at home at Lumen Field. I would expect a big crowd. They show up there. They show up for big international games. We saw it in Champions League. And they've got Monterrey coming in my opinion, probably the best team in this entire tournament. Monterrey and Club America right there at 1 and 2 for me. Just, they're really good. I am going to be on an under here. I'm going to take the under 2.5 at even money. A couple reasons, obviously. Look, Monterrey is just really solid, top to bottom. They're really good. They have got 3 points in hand. So I don't think that they have clinched, but I think a draw here clinches for them for sure. And they're just really solid defensively.
They've clinched.
Okay, they have clinched. Mm-hmm. Monterrey was number 1 in expected goals allowed by quite a bit the last 2 seasons in Mexico. They're going to line up in a 4-4-2 on the road. And there's one rule if you've handicapped Mexico for any amount of time in the last couple of years. Yes, Monterrey is a wagon. Yes, they're really good, top to bottom, but don't bet Monterrey goals on the road. Just don't do it because they are going to squeak out draws. They're going to squeak out 1-0 wins. That's just how they operate under their current management. That is the style that they want to play on the road. Obviously, that didn't happen against Real Salt Lake. That was always a tough matchup for Real Salt Lake because Real Salt Lake is attack heavy. They're a little bit top heavy with their attack being the strength of their team. Not so good defensively. That was always going to be tough for Real Salt Lake. Even though credit to Real Salt Lake, they definitely created their fair share of chances, just couldn't put them away. But and then you look at Seattle, equally strong defensively. I mean, arguably the best back line in MLS, paired with João Paulo in defensive midfield, who's an anchor for that defense. And we have seen the way that Seattle Sounders play in tournaments. So I think that this has a very good chance to be not a lot of space. When I'm looking at unders, I'm looking at finding games where there are not a lot of layups, where there's not going to be a lot of miscommunications and breakdown in the defense, where people are getting shots on shots on shots in the box. There are going to be some long range shots taken in this game. But I'm going to obviously bet, happy to bet my money that they don't sink 3 bangers in this game. If they do, then so be it. I don't see a ton of quality shots coming in this game inside the box, especially with Monterrey already have clinched. They're going to be even less aggressive. And
I should take it back. Monterrey hasn't technically clinched, but they have a 3-goal lead on Real Salt Lake. So Seattle has to win by 3 goals or more.
Even better.
And so that's the scenario I want to toss out to you. Seattle goes into this game knowing they have to score goals, knowing they've got to be aggressive. What do you think Monterrey's game plan is, and why do they not just punish Seattle? Because Seattle's obviously going to have to push.
Right. That's a very good point. I just think that I'm willing to bet that Monterrey doesn't just pour in 3 or 4 goals by themselves here. The Seattle attack doesn't strike very much fear in my heart right now at the moment, to be honest with you. And I don't think that Seattle really lets it rip necessarily until the second half. So I think we're probably looking at 0-0 first half, 1-0 worst case scenario. I just don't see it getting over. I don't see enough quality looks in this game.
Gotcha. Just curious about that scenario and what you thought.
Absolutely. All righty.
Was that your only one?
No, I got another one.
Okay. All right.
You got the Austin game up next.
Okay. So yeah, this is my favorite play. I'm dropping another 2 unit here. With Austin, both teams to score as they host Juarez. This is just, man, this line blew me away when I saw this price earlier today. It's a must win for Austin. They have to win this game to advance. So I expect Austin to be aggressive. That doesn't work in Austin's favor at all, considering where they're hurting at on defense.
Yep.
They did just trade for Matt Hedges. Like, I feel like that should be said, but obviously Hedges' best years are behind him already. So it'll be interesting to see. I think he's 31. So it'll be interesting to see how that fits, but they did make a move for him as part of that Toronto fire sale. But Austin, both teams to score, has hit in 4 of their last 6 home games and 5 of their last 5 in all competitions. And then Juarez starts the season off with 3 games in Liga MX. All 3 went both teams to score, and both teams to score in their first Leagues Cup match. So with Austin having to be aggressive, Juarez, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with them scoring. Austin, I have to expect a much stronger lineup than what they rolled out the first time. With all of the key studs back. And so, yeah, both teams to score. This just drives me a little bonkers here with this price. And so I have to, it's an easy multi-unit play for me.
Yeah, this is officially going to be on my card tomorrow for clients. I caught it at, I think, around -132. So it's probably already moving. Just to keep that in mind, again, these games start tomorrow. So we're talking Friday. No, I'm sorry. We're talking Saturday, Sunday, Monday on these games here. So if you're watching, as always, we recommend locking these in as soon as possible. The closing line value that we provided the last couple of weeks on these Leagues Cup has been just ridiculous. I mean, we're talking dollars on dollars, hundreds of cents of closing line value the last 2 episodes on just like 10 plays total. So it's been really solid. All right, let me respond to this play now because I like it a lot. I'm an Austin guy. I'm an Austin fan. I obviously get nervous when I need Austin to do anything for me, but if Driussi plays, which he's going to play, they'll score in this game. Driussi will force a goal in this game. He will make it happen, whether it's with an assist or a goal. I feel good about Austin getting on the board here. And even though Juarez kind of let us down last week with the half loss, half push on that -0.25 handicap, they were the better team for 80% of the game. They looked solid. I am hoping that they get what's his name? The guy from Pachuca that came over and didn't. I think he was on the bench but didn't play. Hurtado. They got Hurtado. I think he's like 33-year-old Ecuadorian guy. Still really high caliber attacker, pairs really nicely with their other striker that they got from La Liga. And if he plays, I like it even more. I like the over if he plays. And yeah, I still think Juarez is a little bit undervalued. I think that a lot of people automatically put Juarez in the same category as Mazatlan and Tijuana and Puebla and Querétaro, but they're a little bit better this year than they have been. Let's see. Eric, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, we are going to do our best to continue to provide great information. So thanks for tuning in. But yeah, I really like it, Garrett. This is potentially a fun game. I guess the total's got to be at 2.5. I like the over 2.
Yeah, it's 2.5.
Yeah, so I like the over 2.5. I like both teams to score here. I think this is a good game. I actually think this is a decent week for unders, sneaky unders, just because the goals have been crazy. There's got to be some regression at some point, but I don't think it's in this game. I think that this game is a good one for unders, and again, Juarez a little bit undervalued there. So right on. Moving along to our next matchup, looking at New York Red Bull and Atletico San Luis. This is the one that I expect everybody to tell me how ridiculous and crazy I am. And I can't wait to hear what Garrett has to say about this one. I'm taking Atletico San Luis +1, bought it up from plus 0.75 here. And let me explain why. Let me plead my case. Yes, Atletico San Luis got shellacked 5-1 on the road at the Revs to open up their Leagues Cup group play. But they're a lot better than that. Revs looked really good. I liked the way that they looked so much that I took a sprinkle on their future at like 35-1, just because they were impressive. I like the way that that they look, and I think Bruce is one of the better managers as far as tournaments go. So I like the way that they looked, but I think that they came out and got blitzed, similar to the way that Chivas got blitzed in Cincinnati. It was just a team that was ready to go. But look, Atletico San Luis cares about this tournament. Their coach has mentioned it. Like, they want to do well in this tournament. It's a statement for their club if they can get out of this group and make a run. And they are way more talented than getting beat 5-1. Okay, like New England Revs earned the game. They looked great, but they got blitzed. That's all there is to it. They got that game out of the way. They're still a good team, and they're going to maybe my favorite team in the world to fade, which is New York Red Bulls. I'm just not impressed with New York Red Bull. They're a team that always has great analytics, but doesn't really perform for us. And they have struggled looking at their schedule. The Red Bull, they've struggled in step-ups this year against good attacking teams that they can't necessarily keep up with. If they get behind a goal, they're in trouble. So I think that this is a bit of an overreaction to the spanking that the Revs gave San Luis. And I think this line should be a little bit closer. Atletico San Luis is getting their best winger back for this game. John Murillo is going to be back for this game. He was out last match with back spasms, so he is expected to return. And they've got a really good looking attack. Obviously need to shore some things up defensively, but again, New York Red Bull, not that scary in attack. So I'm taking the +1 as opposed to the plus 0.75 because Atletico San Luis need to win this game. So if the game is 1-1 or 2-2, they're going to be going all out, could be exposed at the back. And then if they end up losing by a goal, I've got my push protection here. If they end up with a draw, then I win. But yeah, I'm sticking my neck out here a little bit with San Luis, and we'll see how it goes. Sometimes the ones that you're kind of cringing at are end up being the best plays. So we'll see.
So this play is interesting to me. Yeah, I can't speak to San Luis except for that embarrassing match they did against the Revolution.
It was bad.
I don't know. This is more like I'm going to wait to look at the lineup type situation. I don't expect anything quick, but Laquinas has been mentioned in some transfer discussion. If he's not playing, then yeah, you can do whatever you want with San Luis. Anytime the Red Bulls, who struggle to create, but I shouldn't say that. they create fine. They struggle to finish. Aquinas can finish. Anytime you take those finishers out, Red Bulls do tend to struggle. I do like that they're at home. I yeah, man, this is an interesting line considering the juice. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think the Red Bulls are great, but if that same San Luis team shows up, they could smoke them for no reason.
Right.
It'd be interesting. I will say that if you watched the first episode for round one and were able to shop Red Bulls and Revolution group winner lines, that'll cash, no problem for you. Somebody, either Revolution or Red Bulls, will win this group after this match. So
Oh,
good on you for that.
we've also cashed Philadelphia Union to win their group. So that's two
And that was
two
so
cash.
easy.
Yeah, I told you
And
that
that
was
was so easy.
that was ridiculous. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
So I have to, League MX better. That's showing in this tournament already. I'll have to just back you here if this is where you're leaning. That San Luis team scares me though. I mean, like in a bad way, not in a good way.
I get it. I mean, they were bleeding defensively in that game, so they've got to shore that up. I just think that they got blitzed very similar. I mean, Chivas is good, okay? And we saw when you go into a buzzsaw, it can happen to almost anybody. And that's what happened. I think the same thing happened to Atletico San Luis. San Luis obviously is not on the same level as, the best 4 or 5 Liga MX teams, but they're in the middle of the pack and they've got a really good attack. They probably have a top 5 or 6 attack. So, all right. Moving along, Garrett's got 2 more plays. So let's get to LA Galaxy.
I'm going to with my tried and true both teams to score plus over 2.5 here. I've played this with Vancouver a lot this season, and it has cashed a lot. And I'm eating the juice here. I was able to find it for minus 145, just under my juice limit. If you can't get it at a price you're comfortable with, that your juice tolerance allows, just wait live. You should be able to get something decently live within the first 10 minutes or so that should put you in a range you can play. But this is just a matchup between these two teams. You got a Galaxy with a must-win situation. Both teams to score when the Galaxy are at home is hitting at 80%. Both teams to score for Vancouver when they're on the road is sitting at 78%. That 80% for the Galaxy is number 1 in the league for home teams, and that 78% for Vancouver is second best in the league for road teams. So I just expect goals here. And because Galaxy have to win, I expect a more aggressive side Galaxy than we typically see. And so that's going to open it for somebody. Either Galaxy are going to put in a couple, or Vancouver is going to hurt them on the counter, which they've been able to do well all season long. So I'm not here to pick a winner or anything like that. I think you get 3 goals in this match. I think both teams get on the board. Somebody probably gets a winner simply because of what's needed here. And this should not. The reason I'm on this at this price is because I don't think it should be playable, given everything we know about these two sides.
Yep. Yeah. This is a situational play as far as, like you said, must-win game, last game of group play. So we know it's gonna be open. We're gonna have chances here. I agree. The price seems like it should be like minus 175 or something. So, we've seen totals with both of these teams get steamed to the overall all season. So hop on it sooner rather than later. What do you think about what is it, Brugman being out for the year?
Meniscus. It hurts Galaxy a lot. He's a big reason why they're able to possess as much as they are. I think his pass count is just ridiculous.
But it probably helps with this game, right? As far as being open.
Yes. I think Galaxy will not have as much possession as normal. Brugman there as that there in the back just kind of helps pivot the game and rotate it around. They just go back and forth, real similar to like a Barcelona style of possession. And so, yeah, him being injured with that meniscus is definitely a blow for how the Galaxy like to play. So I do think you're going to have to get a little more open, stretch the field a little more, and it's only good for Vancouver to get 2 or more.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. Looking forward to this one as well. We got one more here to get to, and this is going to be my one that I'm feeling interesting about, and looking forward to your analysis on this one. So let's get to it.
So yeah, another game where, similar to Seattle, you have a San Jose side that has to be super aggressive here. They can't just win; they've got to win by multiple goals. They are down 2 goals already, but the group is wide open. Portland has 3 points, Tigres has 3 points, and San Jose has no points. So I expect an aggressive San Jose side. They have to score, and then when you get into like the actual numbers, Tigres, both teams to score, has hit in 3 of 4 games in all competitions this season so far. If you extend that back to the end of May, it's 5 of their last 6. And San Jose has only failed to score at home in 17% of their matches in league play. So I like them being able to get on the board against Tigres. If they're that open, I do believe Tigres can take advantage and net win as well. I don't know if we get past a 1-1. Like it's just can San Jose break them down enough? But I see enough opportunities here between how aggressive San Jose is going to be to where we should at least get both teams on the board.
Yeah, so you hit the nail on the head before I could even say it. This has 1-1 written all over it for me. Like this, I feel 1-1 fairly strongly here, and so let me mention something about Tigres. I think Tigres is the most overrated MX team in the competition. When I see them at 12-1, 13-1, tied with Monterrey and Club America for the highest odds to win this tournament, I don't think they belong anywhere near those two, because, well, for several reasons. I don't like. I don't love their style necessarily. That they remind me of Tigres. To me, is kind of like the Chelsea of Liga MX, because they are fairly solid defensively, create a lot of chances and don't necessarily put them away, or create enough chances and don't necessarily convert them enough. But I think Tigres is overrated. Their defense is super legit, though. I will give them that. They probably have the best center back in the competition in Samir. Samir is just a beast. He's great defensively. He can possess the ball. He can pass. He's just super solid. I think he came from Watford in the Premier League. Actually, he's great. So I guess my concern with this game is that Tigres keep San Jose out too long. That's my concern, that if Tigres keep San Jose out too long, Tigres is just chilling. Like they're just chilling on 0-0. And obviously San Jose's got a good attack. Like you said, they have scored at home a lot. We've backed them a lot at home this season, which I like. But I've definitely prefer both teams to score as opposed to taking an over in this game. I would prefer both teams to score a million times for sure, as opposed to an over. But
both teams to score is going to depend on if San Jose can net 2. That's what this is going to lead. Because if you get 2, now it's game on, right? Like, so then they're within striking distance of actually leapfrogging Tigres. So it just depends. Tigres didn't look great. They absolutely needed that red card from Evander last game, and then second half was all theirs. But they did score while Portland was still at full strength, with your boy Gignac doing a wonder goal. So yeah, I this is what the total is too. There's too much variance for a total for me. But based on the scenario where San Jose is going to push and San Jose can score at home, I don't think this Tigres defense is impenetrable. And I think Tigres are going to get their opportunities to answer back. So yeah, I'm with you. Give me both teams to score, but I'm not going over the 2.5 or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we can agree on that. Let's see here. All right. So we gave out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plays. We have cashed 2 futures. Philadelphia to win their group. And what was the other one, Garrett?
Well, that was just like if you could shop around the Revs and Red Bulls and get them both at plus 200 something, then you were
Yeah.
going to get an automatic winner.
Oh, that's right.
Minnesota is going to depend on a very sorry Puebla beating Chicago Fire. That's going to depend on them as Minnesota choked away 2 leads versus the Fire to not
Ridiculous.
seal the group. And then Pumas have to win. If Pumas can beat DC United, they will win the group. Otherwise, yeah, those are not looking. Those are not in a comfortable position right now.
Yeah, Pumas absolutely can win, but you never know what you're going to get with that team. They're just not super reliable. As we saw against Montreal, they decided that they wanted to play soccer the last 10 minutes of the game, and they tied it up 2-2, like in a 3-minute time period, and almost won it. But yeah. So anyway, happy Friday night, everybody. And
and we do have knockouts coming after this.
right.
LAFC and Pachuca both jumping into the knockouts. I cannot wait to fade Pachuca. I am more than ready to have them get a matchup that I think is even semi-competitive, and I can fade them as they are still a decent price to win it all at plus 1,600.
Yeah.
There's only a little over a handful of teams above them right now. But yeah, I'm starting to look at the numbers for Cup winner. So once groups are decided, and I can see some knockout matchups, yeah, I'll pull a trigger on some. It's interesting to note Inter Miami is plus 800 to win, and that is the favorite right now.
That's crazy. People think the fix is in, or what? I mean,
dude, that you cannot tell me in the 2 games you've seen Inter Miami in the 60 some odd minutes Messi has played, a little over 60. You cannot tell me they don't look amazing. They have been training for years, and that was second game.
They look like they have the best player in the world on their team, and he's making everybody else on the team better. I mean, and obviously they got some swagger, they got some electricity right now, all that good stuff. But I don't think they're going to win it. I don't think they're going to win it.
I don't know, dude. I think you see all these under 22 signings before the tournament's done. If they make a run, they just spent $9 million to get that center back. They are in, dude, and it is exciting to watch. That is, I'm tired of the Messi talk, and yet I am loving watching Miami games. It is just too much fun.
He's just ridiculous. I mean, it is a lot of fun. This whole tournament has been fantastic. I mean, this has been such a great combination of, the teams want to win. And like, how many red cards have we had? It's been fiery.
Oh my God, dude. Red cards feel like a minefield, man. I cannot believe the Minnesota game where they got a red and scored 3 down a man. Like, that's why I have no hope for this Minnesota future, because Puebla is under the same thing. You talked about Cruz Azul being like, you better win.
Yep.
Puebla had an emergency meeting the day after that game to like discuss what happened. So I don't know what changes happened, but yeah, it's this tournament's been fun to say the least. Definitely entertaining.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Let's see, I had one thing I was thinking about. Oh, with the futures. Yeah, Pachuca doesn't need to be that high. They're overvalued.
Well, have you seen the turmoil in the locker room for them in particular? That's why I brought them up.
No, what's going on? What's going on?
It's like the coach and a player. I don't know the player. Pretty much got into it. Almost got into a fist fight, and like the coach basically kicked the player off the team.
Jesus, which player?
I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. It's just
Wow.
It sounds like the locker room is like getting lost, like at this very moment. And so to have that long break where they didn't play in group play, because you get the automatic bid into not the knockouts, And to have that going on, I think Pachuca is going to be a nice spot to potentially get a good price if they can get a semi-favorable matchup.
Pachuca's also overvalued. I mean, I would put Pachuca on the same level as probably say like Toluca. Those two teams are like the level right below the best 4 or 5 MX teams. So they're not, to me, they're not included in the favorites, which is interesting that their odds are that high. Let me ask you this real quick before we wrap it up, because somebody DM'd me and said, it was when I was getting into it with MLS Buzz or one of those MLS accounts on Twitter that great accounts, but they just, they get a little feisty sometimes. And somebody DM'd me and said, Club America, Monterrey, Chivas, and Tigres are all on the same side of the bracket. Is the bracket even out yet? How would he know that?
I'm sure the knockout is.
So they would really load up the best MX teams all on the same side?
I don't think.
It's supposed to be random, right?
No, they've already got it set up. So like you've got West 1, West 2, West 3, Central 1 through 4, South 1 through 4, East 1 through 4. Like you have those. Who's gonna, so like for instance, LAFC comes in on August 2nd, right, for the knockouts. They're gonna play the runner-up in the South 1 group. So I haven't like you will know that once groups are like final, but none of the groups have finalized as far as their position. Some teams have qualified, but their positions have not been finalized yet. So you can assume
was that guy just full of it or what?
Do what?
Was that guy just full of it, or does he?
I'm looking right now. I don't know off the top of my head. Just trying to do the quick scan of who is playing where. Which here, I'll just take a look at it. Which teams?
He told me he's basically saying it's a conspiracy that they want MLS in the final is basically what he's getting at. So he's saying Monterrey, Club America, Chivas, Tigres are all on the same side of the bracket. And I wonder about León because they're definitely a top 5 team. So those 5.
So if Tigres get a point, then it'll be Tigres versus Monterrey.
Oh.
If Tigres don't get a point, then that just throws into flux, right? Like if San Jose wins, it depends on how many goals they win by. Because Portland and Tigres are tied, I think it then goes to yellow cards, which I don't have here in front of me. So I'm not sure who has the better disciplinary record. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, are there scenarios where you could get certain matchups? Yes, but
so there's not really any way to know right now.
It's not final yet. That we're all just making assumptions as far as where we think they're going to end up. I mean, only León, Cincinnati, Mazatlan, Miami, and the Philadelphia Union have won their group like already.
Mazatlan to win the group. Who had that?
Gross. But
wow.
But yeah, so those are the only ones that have won their group. Like the Timbers, they've qualified. The Crew and Club America, Minnesota, Dallas, DC United, New York City FC, and the Revolution have all qualified, but we don't know if they win their group yet or not.
Can Charlotte still win the group if they win? Because we've got them at
if they win, yes.
Let's go, Charlotte. Queen
but
City.
Again, baby. Charlotte, like these are the scenarios I hate because Charlotte just has to not lose. As long as they don't lose, they're advancing.
Yeah, I looked at the under in that game too against Necaxa, and if this was Necaxa from a year ago, I would have considered it. But Necaxa has been giving up and creating a ridiculous amount of chances. So I'm just not comfortable with, and obviously Charlotte's defense is not great either. So I stayed away from that one. But real quick, what were your thoughts on the Nashville Toluca game? That was quite a barn burner.
Yeah, it was the most disorganized I've seen Nashville at the back all season long. And I really think it was. I don't like the backup goalkeeper. Like they just rotated, right? That they took the chance to rest some players. I've already gotten a win, um, which is, I mean, they're basically through mathematically. If Toluca beat the Rapids, then the Rapids get no points. Nashville finishes the runner up. If the Rapids beat Toluca, more than likely it is just uh, if the Rapids win by multiple goals, then the Rapids just jump Toluca. Nashville's in. If they win by one goal, then we get back into the disciplinary record with the yellow cards and whatnot. So, and I haven't checked to see where that is. Um, but yeah, it's the most disorganized I've seen Nashville at the back. I don't like the backup goalkeeper. I didn't like how we lined up defensively. Um, and yet Nashville still put up a fight, right? They got smacked early where it was they went up first, but then got smacked back quite a few times. But never gave up the fight, never quit. I'm excited to see when Surridge can get in. Very excited to see what that looks like.
Is he going to be in for Leagues Cup or no?
No, he can play as soon as he gets his visa. He doesn't have his P1 yet. So once he gets the visa locked up, which hopefully maybe happens next week, if all things go well, then he can start participating in
fantastic
stuff. So yeah, I think that's another thing too, is you're going to see new faces as teams make deeper runs into this tournament if they've made some moves, because visas, I mean, this tournament came right as the window opened up and as the window was operating. So visas will finally get approved and you'll see players in. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, with Miami, with the under 22 guys, Nashville with the new striker, that could go on to be a club record signing if some bonuses are met. Who else brought in people? It's just
Monterrey.
Monterrey. I think you could see Sir Canales, because I do expect Monterrey to make a deep run. I think you could see Canales in this tournament, which is just unreal. That dude's a great player. So this tournament's just going to get more fun, and we are going to have to keep our ear really close to the ground to figure out when some of these guys might start playing, and because that's going to change team dynamics for sure.
Absolutely. And obviously no time today, and we're about to wrap it up, but as soon as Leagues Cup is over, and maybe even if we continue to accumulate as much player news as it has occurred so far since Leagues Cup has started, as far as rumors and transfers and all that good stuff, we'll definitely have a little news segment next episode, or maybe towards the end of Leagues Cup, because there's quite a bit to catch up on, a lot of good, exciting stuff. So, but yeah, as always, thanks everybody for watching. Please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything, and also follow us on Twitter at MLS Live Podcast. And those are our Twitters as well. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Best of luck, guys. Thanks so much.